All right, welcome back. Let's go back now to Foley Square. Dominic Carter standing by live. Dominic, what's the latest?
Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, hey, Dominic, can you hear me all right?
Richard, it's a bit chaotic out here. I want you to take a look. Let's pan off. I haven't seen crowds like this in a very long time. This crowd, they have actually started mobilizing now, and so they are making their way towards the Brooklyn Bridge. I don't know if that's what their ultimate goal is, but there are easily a few thousand people out here right now. This crowd quickly mushroomed. It's going several blocks back that way. The NYPD had set up a pen to keep the protesters in. That didn't last very long, and it only covered the park, which they quickly covered in terms of the crowd. There are a lot of angry people here, Richard. I mean, I can't begin to describe to you what it's like out here right now. It's very peaceful. There's been no violence, thank God, but there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people. And we can also tell you, Richard, that we'll be talking to a lot of these people tomorrow night, but it's going to make for a very interesting night. Let's go back to you in the studio.
And thank you, Dominic. And just so everybody knows, this will culminate. Reverend Sharpton, unfortunately for time, we didn't really have time to get into it, but there will be a protest that will be taking place not this Saturday, but the following Saturday in our nation's capital. We believe it'll be right on in the mall, the Washington Mall. I would believe that permits permitting, but you're going to have people from all walks that will be there. I know that he's reaching out to the entertainment community as well to have a presence there, in addition to, you can imagine, stakeholders from elected, et cetera. All right, I want to bring in some of the calls here. We've been waiting so patiently. Let's start off first with Jesus calling us from Bethpage. And I understand you're a corrections officer. Is that correct, Jesus? Go ahead, Jesus. You're on the line. All right, let's move on to Brock. Brock's calling us from Spring Valley. Go ahead, Brock. You're on.
How you doing? Yeah, when I heard the verdict, I was very shocked that we couldn't at least get an indictment. And on top of that, another thing I'm not understanding is, in July, the media shows the full video, which we forget about the full video, the police leaving him and not reviving him, and the EMT doing the same, not reviving him, and they have him in handcuffs, a dead man.
Yeah, you know, the question that Brock raises, negligence. Yeah. Like, I don't think most people looked at that and said that Officer Pantaleo set out that day to murder Eric Garner, okay? But that wasn't the only option. They could have said, wait a minute. There was a lesser included that we could have gone. We could have gone for negligence. Basic negligence happened that day. But that when we talked around the table, and I had people saying, no, there's be no indictment. I'm like, you're crazy. Of course there'll be an indictment. You have the video. You didn't have video in Missouri. You have video here. But Mayo, obviously, that didn't matter at the end of the day. Even if you only needed, as I understand, just a basic plurality in Staten Island, not like 9 out of 12 in Missouri. You needed out of, 23, 12
right.
grand jurors to say yes, and we don't know the details, but I'm assuming they at least put that as an option there for a lesser included charge, right?
Well, see, one of the problems, we don't know what the options were. And the option could have been anything from them going in and saying only intentional murder, which would be very difficult. And you could have a great grand jury that wouldn't come back with that. If they're not given other options, you're going to come back with no true bill. But they could have included anything from manslaughter down to criminally negligent homicide, but they could have also included assault. There were a host of charges that they could have included. We need to change that law
so we can find out what happened in cases like this. There's no way Donovan should be able to hide behind a law so that he doesn't have to reveal that information.
And also, the governor, we don't have time for this, we're out of it, but the governor who said that he's looking to change the governor could have done more and could have had an independent prosecutor as well. And I think there's enough responsibility to go around here. News is straight ahead here on the File site. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll, of course, continue to follow the story as it relates to not just Foley Square, but tomorrow night on RFL as well. Stick around. Thank you.